Hello again, everybody. Well, today we are checking out a historical place at a historical time. I am on the side of Lookout Mountain, not too far away from the Craven's house, where the Battle for Lookout Mountain happened. It was fought on November 24th, 1863, and General Joe Hooker and his Union boys attacked the Confederate outpost up here and drove them from the mountain. Now, if you can imagine, I'm on the side almost pointing out towards Moccasin Bend. The Union soldiers came up from the western side of the mountain, literally lined up from the bottom of the mountain towards the rocky point, and then walked as a straight line. And they did this and snuck until they started to get into the flat area, where they ran into the first of the Confederate emplacements. These were just dirt works and timber works, and I have addressed this in an older video if you want to see this more detail, but this is where the area starts to flatten out, coming towards the Craven's house. So they fought and they fought and they fought, and then they kept working their way towards the Craven's house. So come on with me and I'll show you the way. So one of the interesting things about the side of the mountain here is that it's very steep up and down the mountain, although it's gentle the closer to the foot of the mountain you get. So it starts off not so steep and then gets very steep up towards the point. A lot of folks call the rocky top part of the mountain the Palisades. Now, I'm up on a little trail, but you can see an interesting feature that the ground started to flatten out kind of in a natural terrace. And it does this all the way to the Craven's house. And one can only imagine. You're fighting. Now, today is clear, but the day when it happened, it was reported to be foggy and cloudy. Hence the whole term, the battle above the clouds. So can you imagine fighting in terrain like this as you go? Now granted, some of the areas were probably cleared out better than they are now, but still, it had to be a tough row to hoe. Anyway, we're heading onwards towards the Craven's house. So here we come into the final stretch. The Union soldiers came in and they'd been fighting. They finally broke over into the open area, and the Craven's house is right down here. So all up and down the side of this mountain, you had fighting. It had to have been a sight. Now right about there is where the spring house for the Craven's house is. So I don't know if it just happened to be out of the way or if it was used in part of the battle, but there's also another structure. You can kind of see the wall right about there. No one seems to know what that one is, so if anybody knows, its reference is it's right about there. So anyway, so the Union soldiers continued to come down in here, and eventually, after all of the dust settled, the Confederates were driven from the mountain. They fled down the mountain, worked their way through downtown Chattanooga, and made their way towards Missionary Ridge. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my quick little journey today. A little bit of a history buff, considering that 154 years ago today is when the battle for Lookout Mountain happened. I'm off to go on some more journeys, so until then, why don't you go on some journeys of your own? We'll see you next time.